Welcome to the Resilient Woman Leadership Podcast, where professionally minded women explore the art of grounding into the powerful foundation that makes us resilient leaders in business and in life. I'm your host, Kathryn Regganie, and I believe that when we women connect deeply with our truest selves, we can collectively shift our leadership culture towards compassion, cohesion, and true creativity. Hello and welcome. I am so excited today to be talking with Martha Burrich. She is the author of Yes, You Can Raise Happy, Responsible Children, which was endorsed by Jack Canfield, co-author of Chicken Soup for the Soul series. A former college child psychology professor and special education high school teacher, Martha brings decades of experience to her writing and speaking engagements. She is a contributing author to the Chicken Soup for the Soul cookbook and is frequently invited to share her insights on podcasts and other shows. She is known as the parent's best friend. Thank you so much for joining us today, Martha.
Oh, I'm so happy to be here, Kathryn.
I'm really looking forward to this conversation about parenting because a lot of women corporate leaders are parents. So tell me a little bit about what brought you to this specialty.
Well, when my son was little, he was very spoiled rotten when he was 4. And before that, because, we were young parents. He was our only child. And we thought that the way that you're a good parent is you always say yes. And boy, were we wrong. And every time I tried to say no, he would push back and I was a pushover. So of course, he would get his way and everybody was miserable. Kathryn, I remember he was so spoiled one time. And not just one time, many times I would buy him 2 of the exact same toy so that when he broke the first one, he wouldn't have a fit and I could just bring out the second one. Because one time he broke a toy and he said, "Go get me another one." And I said, "It's 8:00 at night. No, it's too late. I want another toy." I mean, that's when I kind of realized our lives were totally out of control. Things just weren't working well. But anyway, I was very lucky and I took these lessons that were offered 8 weeks, 1 hour a week. And I'll be darned if they didn't work. They gave us 1 assignment each week and I was there with about, 8 other parents. And I went myself. My husband didn't come along. Anthony's dad didn't come along. And, we worked on one thing each week. And the first week, what we worked on, Kathryn, was only noticing the good about our child. Because as parents, we think we have to correct our child every time they do wrong, which we do. We need to correct them. But, some things don't have to always be pointed out. And we forget to realize the child needs to hear what he does right and how he's doing good things and how much he's appreciated and belongs. Because what do children need? Just like adults, we need attention. We need to know that we belong and we need to know that we can contribute and that what we do makes a difference. And I was missing all those things. So the very first week we did attention, good at positive attention. And I would say things to him like, "Oh my goodness, I like the way you did that." Or, "Oh, you were so friendly to your friend. He broke that toy and you didn't get mad at all. You just simply showed him how to work it better and everything worked out." Just constantly with the positive. They said at least one thing a day, but more. And just the first week, it was like, whoa, things were great. So everything I learned in those lessons, I put in that book. And I used the same information when I taught child psychology. I learned a lot of that. And then when I was teaching high school, high school kids, just like adults, we're all just big kids. We're all 3-year-olds in different sized bodies.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point because we all have our wounds and injuries from when we were young, and it doesn't necessarily go away until you really sort of get curious yourself about, why is it that when Martha, gets upset with me, it really, really bothers me. Oh, well, maybe that's because my mom used to do something really, really similar. And so, even raising our kids, we can think about how our parents raised us and how do we, dare I say, reparent ourselves.
Right.
They did the best that they could with the tools that they had, and we do the best with the tools that we have. So
Exactly.
I really like that perspective of, giving that positive feedback because it's not always given.
That's for sure. But most parents are taught that you have to correct the child and don't spoil them. Don't spoil them. If you tell them too many good things, because that's what my mother believed. If you tell them too many good things, you'll spoil them. And I remember I was talking to a neighbor. I think I was in college at the time, and now there were three children in our family. I had a brother 7 years older than me, a brother 2 years older than me. Anyway, when I was 8. My older brother was 15. We were separated. Dad took my older brother, and Mom took the second brother and me to Missouri to be with her parents. So the neighbors, when we moved to a new home, they did not know that there were more children in the family. They only knew about me. So we had lived there about 15 years, and I was talking to a neighbor, and I said, Mom always loved my brother better. And she said, I didn't even know you had a brother. All your mother ever talks about is you and how proud of you she is. And I bring this up because, all my life I played this game, and it is a game, and all kids play it. Mom loved you best. You loved him best. I'm telling you, as long as you're a parent, and if you have more than one child, you're going to hear that till the day you die. Just get used to it. Because, we got to blame somebody, and I'm not blaming myself. Okay, Mom? It's all your fault.
No, you're fine. Exactly. That's really interesting too. And it's also what I've been learning. I have two siblings, brothers, and it's interesting the perspective they have
Mm.
on the parenting that we had and the perspective I had on the parenting that we had. And we're all in the same family, and everybody was, I don't want to say parented differently, but kind of our perspective of it was so completely different that it's interesting to me hearing, their stories and how it compares similarly or differently than my story. I'm like, wow, we were in the same house. How did I miss that?
Isn't that interesting? You're in the same environment, but you have a totally different experience. There's an old Zen story about an alcoholic man who raised two children, two boys, and one grew up and became very successful in business, married well, had lovely children, and a happy life. And the other one grew up to be homeless and an alcoholic and basically a bum. And both children were asked, to what do you attribute your life now? Both of them said, my father. Everything's perspective. Now there are, everything is perspective. If you've had abuse, and I really want to get to this, don't call your children names. Don't get on the phone and say, oh, thank goodness school's coming back. I've had these kids up to here. The children hear that. They don't need, what if your spouse were to say that? Thank God my wife's going to work. I've had enough of her. Would that help your relationship? I
I don't think so. No.
But see, we don't think that. The kids are around all the time. So then we say basically ignorant, thoughtless things and don't realize how they're going to affect the children. Now, so you know what? And if you've done it in the past, forgive yourself and don't do it anymore. Because then the child thinks to themselves, wow, I'm a burden to mom. And there's another story. I was a burden to my mother. My mother had two children, and then she got pregnant with me. My father was an alcoholic and a gambler. He gambled and drank all the money away. When she realized she was pregnant with me, her first thought was, how am I going to feed her? I already have two children and a bum for a husband. And what am I going to do? So I was an unwanted child. Now, I wasn't unloved, but I was definitely a burden, even though my mother loved me and did her best. And even after all these years, just thinking about it kind of, makes me teary-eyed. But you know what? It really doesn't matter what your past is. You can overcome it and you can have a happy and good life, but you've got to make the decision.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's so true. It's, when you hit a certain age, you just have to realize, your parents really did do the best they could with the tools that they had and get over it. And it's time to move on. And I understand that that's easier said than done. I've
Oh
had
yeah.
my childhood trauma, if you will, even though I had a pretty good um, upbringing. My parents loved me and, did what they could do to help us thrive and whatnot. But there are still those things, kind of like what you're saying. I don't remember my mom ever saying, or dad ever saying, okay, I've had it up to here with the kids, but there are the other things and your siblings
Mhm.
fighting with you and telling you how ugly or
Mhm.
whatever you
Right.
are.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
not always fun, but those things really do stick with you. So,
Mhm.
other than, I know we just talked about some of the praise, tell your child the good things about them. What's
Mhm.
another thing that parents can do to really help raise those healthy children?
Well, I have a parenting method called the 3 L's. And first off, it is love them enough to say no. Say
Oh,
no, say no, say no. Do not, okay, I'm watching this movie and the mother has teenage children and mom's making breakfast. Well, please, teenage children, mom's got to cook the breakfast. Anyway, so mom makes the breakfast. They're all sitting there at the table. Mom's sitting down too. And one of the children says, where's the orange juice? Uh, duh, it's in the refrigerator. But in the movie, mom got up and got a glass and got the orange juice. Come on, please. Knock it off. As soon as your children can do things, let them do them themselves. A 6-month-old can hand you a toy to put away or a dirty dish. You know, hand your dish to mom. Can you pick that up? As soon as they can pick it up, their bottle, whatever, let me have that. Let them help. A 1-year-old can match socks. They can't fold them together, but they can put the blue sock with the blue sock. Can you see the sock that looks the same? Put those together. That'll help me a lot. So, always give them things to do. They need to contribute. So if you think you're doing your children favors by not making them do chores, you are really wrong. You are totally on the wrong path. And you are really, what you're doing is you're encouraging lazy, selfish individuals who don't even think that they're responsible for themselves. So then we love them enough to say no. And then we lead them by example. Don't be on your phone all day and tell the children to get off the TV or stop playing video games. Lead by example and let them fail. We're so concerned about, oh, my child's got to be happy. No, it's not happy children that we're mostly concerned about. It's responsible children who think of the needs of others. We have this whole society that is stuck in the bondage of self. Me, 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 me. And here's how it happens. Mom, a little third grader, Mom, they're having a play at school and I'm going to try for the lead. Oh, now, honey. The lead. You might not get the lead. Why don't you try out to be the frog? So then we get set up for going after what we think we can get rather than what we really want. You know what? The only way to know how you like something is to try it. And most of the time we're going to fail. And also, who makes the most mistakes? People who do things and people who do things that they've never done before, who try
right.
new things.
Yeah, I love that perspective. And it was really interesting how you talked about, oh, you might not get that lead role. Try out for the frog. I've heard parents say that, and it
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
makes me cringe. Like it was, I think, specifically for a job. Well, why do you want that job? That sounds like way too much responsibility. I was like,
Mm-hmm.
huh. Why would you say that to your child who really wants this thing, this
Mm-hmm.
position, and you're sort of dismissing it because it's too much responsibility? Really? They can't handle
Because
it?
Well, see, we love our children and we don't want them to be disappointed. See, that's part of our mistake as parents. We have to learn to let our children fail. How many times did the baby fall down before he learned to walk? Did you stop him? No. So we forget that we have to fall to
Yeah.
rise.
Yeah. Oh, I like that. You have to fall to rise. Yeah. Yeah. And then it just continues as we get more experience in life. We can use, I mean, some of these principles you can use on, yourself, on your
Yes. Oh,
partner,
yeah.
on your siblings or whatnot. I really find that because I know when I'm talking to people about leadership and really setting boundaries,
Hmm.
I love the idea of parents setting boundaries with the kids so that kids know what that means.
Right. When you go to the grocery store, you tell the child, you say, look, we're going to the grocery store. Here's what I expect of you. I want you to stand next to me. And if you don't, you're going to have to sit in the cart because I'm not going to chase after you. And please don't scare your children and tell them a bad man's going to come and get you or somebody bad. That's too frightening for children. They don't need to hear that stuff. All they need to know is that you want them to be in your eyesight and you in their eyesight at all times. So then when the child does run off, and they will, not because they're willful, but sometimes just because they get distracted. They look at the shiny objects. So they'll run off and go pick up the peanut butter or something and you can't find them. Well, then you put a smile on your face and you go, well, or you're serious, but don't be mean and say, I see you decided to sit in the cart.
Yeah.
Put them in the cart gently and say, now, where are those bananas? I need help. Help me shop.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. I
Yeah.
love that.
It
Because
doesn't
you see that a lot in the grocery stores
Oh,
of
yeah. Oh,
kids running around or not getting what they want
mm-hmm.
and throwing
Mm-hmm.
temper
And
tantrums.
see, they need a job. So if the child is too old to sit in the cart, then they need a job. Go find me this kind of apple, a bag that weighs 5 pounds. If they have that, whatever their astuteness is or ability, have them do it. I need some carrots. What are your favorite carrots? Go find the best. Bring me some that look good. Whatever. Keep the child occupied at all times and always have them have stuff in their hands so they can't get into anything.
I love that. Here, hold this.
And then have them hold their siblings' hands. Okay, I need you to hold, so-and-so's hand, you guys, so that you're together and we don't get lost because, oh my goodness, I would be so upset if I couldn't find you guys. What would I do?
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. I love that. So, Martha, this is a fantastic conversation. And if people really want to get in touch with you to learn a little bit more about how you can help with parenting and making wonderful children, how can they get in touch with you?
Well, I'm on Facebook, Martha Burrich on Facebook. And if you've seen me, I look pretty much the same in my Facebook picture. It's not 50 years old. And or LinkedIn. Now, also, I do have a website, marthaburrich.com, and it's MarthaB as in boy, URICH.com. And also, I do have the book, and this is available at Amazon. Yes, you can raise happy, responsible children. It's only about 50 pages and it's all bullet points. It's all, if they act up in the grocery store, put them in the cart. What do you do in the car? Okay, here's what you do in the car. Have them look for stuff. Get off. No phones, no movies in the car. Where's the red car? Find a red car. Find a one in a license plate. Find a whatever. Why is there a stop sign there? Is that a good place for a stop sign or a bad place? What do you think?
Yeah.
Keep
Oh,
them occupied.
I love that. I love that. So this will all be in the show notes as well. So if you're in the car and didn't write it down, it'll be in the show notes. But Martha, I'm so glad that we had this conversation today. I'm so blessed to have you on here.
Thank you so much. I really enjoyed it. You're a fabulous host.
Oh, thank you. Talk soon.
All righty. Bye-bye now.
Thanks for listening to the Resilient Woman Leadership Podcast. Remember to take my Dragon Woman quiz at dragonwomanquiz.com. In just 2 minutes, this fun quiz will reveal your Dragon Woman and connect you to the resources so that you can leverage her power for good. And if you've enjoyed this episode, subscribe now so you can hear more inspiring stories from other resilient wise women who will uplift and inspire you. Your review really matters to me, so please gift me back by reviewing this episode. Want more Kathryn? You can find me at energy-pathways.com.